Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I really hope you're all doing okay and having a great day and an amazing week. My name is Effy and today the main focus of the video is testing some new makeup products. I only have a foundation, concealer and powder to test, but it is from HNB Cosmetics, which I've never tested before. So I picked these up off TikTok shop. We'll talk about them, we'll test them out, and then I'll do the rest of my makeup off camera. I will also very briefly explain where I've been. I know I stopped posting again and I feel like making these videos explaining where I've been has just become a regular occurrence on this channel. I don't want it to be. I've not been away for anything specific. I've just had a lot going on. A lot of it is good news, so I'll tell you about it. But yes, I'm not going to ramble on too much. I don't want this video to be too long. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. It's completely free. The button is just down below. If you feel like dropping me a comment and saying hi, please do as well. But other than that, let's get on with the video. I'm just going to use my regular primers because when I'm testing a new foundation, it is good to use primers that I know work. The primers I'm going in with is the e.l.f. Power Grip. I have bought a new one of these, and the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is the Blemish fighting one. So let's just pop these on. So the foundation is the HNB Cosmetics Luminous Soft Focus Airbrush Foundation. I got the shade LF4N. So let's open her up. They had a sale on their TikTok shop over Easter, so I ordered them then, and yeah. I don't know what other products they make. I should really check that out. Oh, I like the packaging. The packaging is very sleek. How do I... Okay, it's a twist up one, which I actually quite like. The colour match could be worse. I'm going to do half my face with a sponge, half my face with a brush, just to see which one it works best with. I've taken quite a few pumps actually, to be fair. Just dot it all over my face. I'm going to do this half with a sponge. The colour match isn't perfect. I feel like it looks better on camera than it does in real life. It's just a bit too dark and potentially a little bit too warm. And I ordered one of their lighter shades and I was actually quite worried because when I did that with the Be Perfect foundation, that foundation was very, very light. I don't think this looks terrible. I think as much as I don't really tan in the summer, like I'm scared of the sun essentially, I try and hide from it as much as possible. So I do wear SPF on my face pretty much every day, all year round. So I don't tan loads or properly in any respect. But I do think when I do get a bit of sun just naturally, maybe this will match a little bit better. Now I'm going in with a brush on this side. This is the Be Perfect Empress Base and Body Brush, and the sponge is also from Be Perfect as well. Okay, I don't think it works very well with the brush. I actually think it's taking off some of the coverage on my nose, and I actually think, it's really weird, but I actually think I got a little bit better coverage with the sponge. I might have simply just had more on that side of my face, so I'm just going to pump a little teeny little bit out on my sponge and just go over this side, and then we'll chat about coverage. Okay, time for thoughts. I actually really like how this looks on my skin. The colour match, not perfect, but not horrendous. I could wear this. It wouldn't bother me wearing this at all, so long as it doesn't oxidize. If it oxidizes, I might be in a bit of trouble. But I actually don't think right now it's a terrible match. I'm just looking at my monitor. On camera it looks perfectly fine. In terms of how it looks on my skin, it actually looks really nice. It looks, like it said, the airbrush. Potentially, I feel like my pores actually do look a little bit softer and smoother. In terms of coverage, my skin was doing absolutely perfectly up until like 2 days ago. And then I got like these they're genuinely quite angry spots. They're like quite red and inflamed and sore. It obviously hasn't covered them perfectly, but like I said, they are very angry, very sore. And it's done a good enough job. Like I reckon if my skin was how it normally is, I generally tend to have relatively okay skin. If my skin was in its normal state, I think it would be fine. I'm actually pleasantly surprised at that. Very happy with that so far. Yes, I like that. I can't remember how much these were. I will try to leave prices in the description box, and I will leave the prices when they're not on sale so that you know how much they are regularly. Now let's move on to the concealer that I'm just trying to get out of the box. This is the HNB Cosmetics Soft Focus Airbrush Concealer, and I got the shade SF0, and this should be very, very light. Yep, perfect. Just what I wanted, really. I do like the packaging. I'm not a big fan of like pink packaging. I just think it's completely overdone. Like, I've literally got a blush in front of me that's pink, and this is pink. I don't actually have that much pink stuff in front of me, but I'm not a big fan of the pink. But actually I do quite like this. You can't really see the writing on the tube too much just because the concealer itself is so pale. I feel like if it was a darker shade you'd be able to see the writing fine. Big doe foot, I like that. Let's pop it on. It sort of has like a cosmetic-y smell, but it's not a bad cosmetic-y smell. So yeah, that's something. I've not gone in with loads. It looks so bright on my face. I'm not going in with loads. I'm just going to use a brush. No, I'm just going to use a sponge, not a brush, because I wouldn't typically blend my concealer out with a brush anyway. It's very, very pale, which I'm not going to complain about because you want a good shade range. I have gone over my eyes just because my eyes were looking weird and annoying me. It is very pale. It blends out quite nicely, to be honest. Didn't take much effort at all. Under my eyes, it does crease quite quickly, and it doesn't look super hydrating. In terms of my preferences when it comes to concealer, I like a super thin, lightweight concealer that blends easily and kind of just looks almost like nothing under your eyes but still gives coverage, if that makes sense. And this kind of looks a little bit heavier than that, and it is a very thick formula. Like, when I put it on, it's a very thick formula. But I do think it's blended out nicely. I think my skin looks nice. It's definitely, obviously, brightened my under eyes just because of how pale it is. And I think it has given good coverage. The way I test coverage, in case you didn't know, I am very fortunate in that my under eyes don't typically tend to go very dark when I don't sleep, because I don't really sleep very much. So if they went dark from lack of sleep, I'd constantly look like I had a black eye. So thankfully I don't have issues with dark circles. However, I do get issues with like blueness right in here, and it's covered that up quite nicely, to be honest. Like, it's brightened up that inner corner of my eye, which for me is my problem area, really, really nicely. And actually, I have a spot just here, and I think it's covered it quite well. Obviously, this isn't a shade I can personally use for covering up these bad boys, but it did cover up that spot. So I imagine if you got a shade that worked with your skin tone, it would probably cover up spots pretty well, because it is that thicker, fuller coverage feeling. To give it a proper test, I am going to put on some cream blush and cream bronzer and then use the powder. So I'm going to quickly do those, just so you know what I'm using. The blush I'm using is Made by Mitchell Blursh in Mango Daiquiri, and the bronzer I'm using is the Revolution Ultra Cream Bronzer in Light. I'll just pop these on and come back. That went on fine. Not the best application ever. I wonder if it's because the foundation is a little bit matte and therefore it just struggles blending. I particularly struggled with the blush, but that could just be the shade of blush, to be honest. But actually they went on fine, they look fine. I did just use what was left on my sponge to just sort of go over my jaw and my forehead and just sort of fuse it all together, to be honest. But I don't think it looks bad. I think now that I've taken a little bit more time, it's all blended together really nicely. But I will say I do think it took a little bit more time and work than it normally does. But that could just be because, you know, the foundation and concealer are just a little bit more matte than what I'm used to using, which is fine. Now we're going to move on to the powder. This is the HNB Cosmetics Loose Soft Focus loose powder, and I got the shade Translucent. I thought I did. This one looks like this. I'll tell you one thing I do like. The colours are all slightly different, but they're all in the same shade genre, whatever you want to call it. I kind of wish the foundation was the lightest one, and then concealer was the middle shade, and then this was the darkest one, because then it's kind of in order of what you use them. But I like it. I like it. It is very nice packaging, I will say that. Very nice packaging. And one thing I will say right off the bat is I think this would be very, yeah, this is very, very easy to open, which I sometimes think is a good thing. Sometimes don't, because if this falls out without me meaning to, it's going to annoy me. Okay. I've put some out in the lid. It's very finely milled. It's kind of all over me at the moment. I am just going to pat out my under eyes to sort of get rid of the creasing. And now I hold my eyes open really wide. Okay. Okay, under eyes are done. I can relax again. I did only use a very small amount. It is very, very finely milled, like just the slightest tap off and it's basically gone. I quite like this. I honestly quite like this. It feels nice. It looks nice on my skin. My skin maybe does look like a touch more dry than it did 2 minutes ago, but that's kind of what powder's going to do anyway. I will chuck some setting spray on once I've done the rest of my base to sort of see if that helps. I didn't use a lot. Like, there's still loads left in the lid and stuff. Yeah, that's going to make a mess. It's very, you can see it. It's so finely milled. But generally, I quite like it. I like how it looks. I do feel like it has ever so slightly dulled down the blush and bronzer that I had on, which means that it probably has an ever so slight tint to it. I mean, it is translucent, so it probably does have a small tint to it. Overall, my base is looking pretty good. I think definitely my forehead looks pretty airbrushed. My pores aren't as obvious as they normally are. I don't think it's sitting great on my nose. I don't know why, I just don't think it is. But that's fine, not the end of the world. I actually quite like how I look. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I really quite like all three of those products. I would 100% use them again. They all get a thumbs up from me. I have heard them being hyped up a lot on TikTok, so I was kind of a bit skeptical. But overall, I actually think they performed really, really well. What I'll do now is I will carry on with my base, so I'll do like blush, bronzer, whatever. And I'll let you know where I've been for the past month or so. Everything I use on my face will be listed in the description box. I'm not going to say them all out loud because once I have explained where I am and where I have been, the rest of my base and eyes and things like that won't be filmed, so yeah. So where have I been? Like I said, it's not been anything like particularly bad. I was ill for a bit. Like I had a horrendous sort of, it started as a sore throat and then became like a regular cold, and then I got like the biggest head cold I've ever had in my life. You know when like your entire skull just hurts? I think I maybe had like a sinus infection and just wasn't really aware of it and didn't get any medication for it, but I think that's pretty much what I had because God was it bad. I think I took 2 days off work. I don't think I ever take 2 days off work. I take like the odd day if I'm unwell, but it's very rare for me to take 2 days. So that's part of it, is I was ill for a little bit. Can't be helped, it is what it is sort of thing. On top of that, I do think the move was a bit more than I was anticipating. Like it was a lot to move house. I am now pretty much completely settled here. I still need to buy some things for the flat, like, you know, I want like a rug for my bedroom floor and things like that, but generally I am settled and I'm quite used to being here. Like it's quite a lot to get into the swing of the chores that need doing, when they need doing, how often they need doing, things like that. It's just, it just took a bit more out of me than I think I was expecting. On top of that, I was also searching for a new job, and I found one, which is great news. I haven't actually told my current job about it yet, because some things need sorting out, like I need to go through certain pre-employment checks, but I'm assuming by the time this video goes up, I will have resigned from my current job. I do have a 3-month resignation period, which means even after I resign, it won't be another 3 months until I actually leave, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. So yeah, I went through a lot to sort of, you know, go through the process of finding a job and interviewing, and I spoke to a lot of recruiters. I will tell you about my job, I'm not hiding it from you guys. Because like I said, by the time this video goes up, I'm assuming I will have already told work, plus I don't think anybody that I work with watches my YouTube, and most of them probably don't even know I do YouTube, so that's all good. But yeah, I have found a new job, and luckily enough, it was actually the first job I properly interviewed for. Like, I'd spoken to a lot of recruiters to sort of help me find jobs, because realistically I was working, I was moving house, I was living my life. I didn't really have the time or the energy to be job hunting. It takes a lot, you know, it's not just a quick search, apply, which is what I thought it was going to be. So I ended up getting the help of a few recruiters, and one of them called me and said, look, we've got this job. It's not in the town where I live. It's 1 train ride away, which is fine because it's only like a 20-minute train ride. I'm not that bothered by it. But I went and interviewed for it on a Friday. I took the day off work mainly because I had other things that needed to be done that day, and I was like, I might as well just take the day off so I don't have to worry about work. I can get the things I need to get done, as well as a bunch of other things I need to get done. So yeah, I took the day off work, went for the interview. The only people that knew about it was my boyfriend and my best friend. I didn't tell anybody from work about it, even though one of my best friends is somebody I work with. I didn't tell him about it. And then, yeah, the interview went okay. I was sort of worried, to be honest, because although I'm qualified, I have 0 experience outside of audit, which is what I do currently. And I didn't want to stay in audit. So I wanted to switch to something that I essentially had 0 experience doing, which is always difficult. And I went for the interview, and I know that they were interviewing a few different people for it, because even when I turned up, somebody was leaving as I was meant to be going in for my interview, and she had just been interviewed. But I went in, I interviewed, they asked me a lot of questions. They asked me some technical questions about, like, obviously financial stuff that I didn't think I answered very well, because you know what it's like when you're under pressure, you're in an interview, and they ask you a question about something you know the answers to, you know all about it because you've studied it for 3 years, but every single piece of knowledge just falls out of your head at that moment in time. So I sort of fumbled that question a little bit, and I was sort of worried that, you know, I wasn't showing off my knowledge that I know I have. But I did definitely show off my personality. You know, a lot of the questions I sort of brought back to, it's about working as a team, it's about knowing that I'm not an expert in everything and taking other people's advice and listening to other people, and I feel like I really emphasised that side of my personality a lot in the interview. But yeah, so I sort of came out of it, and I was like, I called my boyfriend immediately, and I said, look, if I don't get the job, I'm not going to be upset, because I feel like it will be because I just don't have enough experience or enough knowledge that they want. And then me and my boyfriend went on a double date with my best friend from work, who didn't know about the interview, and his girlfriend, who also works with me. And while we were on this date, I told him and his girlfriend that I went for an interview on the Friday, but I obviously said, you know, keep it to yourselves, please. I don't want the whole office knowing. And yeah, they kept it to themselves. And then on the Monday, I got a call from the recruiter sort of asking how I thought the the interview went and things like that. And I sort of explained to her, I said, well, I think it went pretty okay. I think I got across who I am as a person and what I'm like to work with and things like that. I didn't answer the technical question very well, but I think I handled it relatively well. For an interview, I think it did go pretty well. But I was like, if I don't get it, I won't be disappointed, and explain the reasons why. And she said, okay, I've got a call with the woman that interviewed you, who will be my line manager. So she's like, I've got a call with her. I'll call you back afterwards and let you know if you've got the job. So okay, cool. I'll just sit and stress for like 3 hours, which I did. It was a Monday, I was working from home, but I was just checking my phone constantly because I didn't want to miss that phone call. And then she called me back, and I'll be honest, she's a really, really lovely person. Like, she's helped me through this process so much. But I don't think she knows how to deliver good news, because she started the phone call and we were chatting and like she was giving me feedback, which was obviously really helpful. But I was fully expecting her to turn around and say, yeah, unfortunately they chose somebody else, blah, blah, blah. No, they chose me, which was absolutely amazing. I was so shocked to hear that, because honestly, like I said, I went into the interview, I told my best friend, who I was like texting about it and things like that, I was like, look, I don't think I've got it, but it's good experience for me to just be in an interview situation again, because I haven't interviewed since like for the past nearly 4 years. So I was like, any experience in being in an interview situation is all good with me. So yeah, so then obviously called my boyfriend, told him that I got the job. He was very excited for me, very happy. He even took my call even though he was in work, which is very rare. He wouldn't normally do that. Not because he's a bad boyfriend, more because he just takes his job very seriously, which is fair enough. So yeah, called him, told him, messaged my best friend, told her, and then I was like, well, I can't really tell anyone from work, including my work best friend. But then I was messaging him after work, and I was like, do you want to know a secret? And he was like, always. And I was like, you can't tell people. And he's like, I think I know where this is going. And I was like, yeah, I got the job, smashed it. Yeah, obviously he was very, very happy for me. He was kind of sad that I'm leaving because he's still staying at where we both work for at least a little bit. So yeah, he was pretty sad to hear it, but he was very happy for me, because if you've watched my videos, if you've heard me talk about work before, you will know that I do not like where I work. I love the people I work with. Some of my best friends are people from work, and I genuinely love them, but I do not like where I work at all, for multiple reasons that I will not go into right now. But yeah, it's just not the place for me. I'm not happy there. I don't want to be there. I think everybody in the office knows I don't want to be there. So he's very happy for me. And then I have a lot of things that need sorting out before I can officially resign. And I'm trying to sort them out right now. So like I said, as of right now, I haven't actually resigned from my job. But I have, and my boyfriend told me basically don't tell anyone from work, because our office, he used to work with me so he knows what it's like. Our office is a gossip mill. Like, if there's information to be known, everyone will know it pretty quickly. Like, you can't keep a secret in our office. But I did tell my 3 other like best friends from work. They're all boys. But I told them. And I also told one of the boys that started at the same time as me, because he hates working where I work just as much as I do. So he understands, and he's also leaving. So yeah, he was very happy to hear that I'd got a job and that I would be leaving, because he knows how important it is to me. My friends are obviously very supportive. I told one of my friends, he hadn't been in the office for a while, so I hadn't been able to tell him, because I didn't want to just text him it. I was like, well. I told all of the other people at a works drink event, and I like took them aside and like told them privately so nobody else could hear us. But this other friend didn't come to that event, so I sort of had to like pull him aside in the office and be like, super quick, I'm leaving, I've got a job, bye. And he was like, I'm super happy for you. But he did say he was sad I was leaving, which was actually very sweet of him to say, because we normally fight like siblings. But he did say that he was very, very happy for me, which was super sweet of him. But you did also say that it was sad because I've been, like, where I work, you get assigned a buddy when you first join. I was his buddy when he first joined, so I've sort of been there the entire time that he's been there. In fact, I've been there longer than a lot of people. So I feel like it is sad. I will be sad to be leaving my friends, but I'm still gonna live here and they all work here, so I'm still gonna see them. And I only have to go into my office 2 days a week most of the time. And I haven't actually told you what it is. I'm going to go be a senior financial accountant for a branch of the NHS, which, if you're not in the UK, the NHS is like our healthcare system. So I'm going to go and be an accountant for them, which I'm super excited about. I haven't got a start date yet because I'm still doing the like pre-employment checks and things like that. But yeah, that is essentially where I've been. I've just been busy and ill and trying to sort this new job out. But hopefully you can understand and you're happy for me. I am now going to go and finish the rest of my makeup because my battery is flashing at me. We all know how that stresses me out. So I'll go do that and then I'll come back and do final thoughts and finish up and all those good things. I'll see you in a moment. There we go, that is my full face finished. I did go for a bit of an orangey look. We are slowly transitioning into summer. So yeah, I went more bright and fun and I quite actually like it. How do I feel about the products? I think my skin looks pretty good, to be honest. I genuinely do. Like, yeah, I've got some spots. They don't bother me. Everybody has spots, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I will say it's all sinking into like the very, very tiny wrinkles that I'm starting to get on my forehead because I'm now 26 and apparently that means you have wrinkles now. But overall, I do think my skin looks good. There is a bit of creasing under my eyes, but I always put eyeshadow on my lower lash line, so I feel like that disguises them a little bit. You can't really tell. I think my skin does look really, really nice actually, to be completely honest. So let's go through them one at a time. So the foundation I do like. The colour match isn't perfect, but I don't think it's oxidized at all, and I think that I can get away with this. Like I said, hopefully a bit more sun, that will help. But overall, I do quite like this. I like the packaging. I will say, I didn't realise at first, but you have to like click it into place in order to stop it just like twisting down as you're trying to pump it. But yeah, that's quite nice. The concealer, it is a tiny bit thicker and a bit more matte than what I tend to prefer, but that doesn't mean I don't like it. It does a very good job of highlighting and brightening, and it does have good coverage. I would even say that if I got this in like a similar skin tone to me, it would probably cover up my spots pretty well. Personally not that interested in doing that. I'm quite happy with the shade I have. It definitely gives brightening under the eyes. Like I said, it has creased a little bit more than I'm used to, but not enough for it to really bother me. It blended nicely, it worked well. Big thumbs up. And again, the powder, really liked it. It has mattified my skin. I didn't put any setting spray on, I completely forgot, but I actually think my skin looks fine now, and I reckon that if I were to wear this for a full day, which I'm not doing today because it's already midday, but if I were to wear this for a full day, a bit of my natural oils coming through would probably help it look a little bit less dry, and it wouldn't bother me regardless. I do genuinely just think that my base looks really, really good. I'm not thrilled with like my bronzer, but that is nothing to do with these products. Other products sat well on top of them. I've had no issues applying my powder products. Yeah, maybe I had a little bit of an issue with my cream blush, but that could be the cream blush. Not ruling it out. Overall, I genuinely am happy with how I look. I would leave the house like this. I'm not going to, because I've already left the house today. I actually went to the gym this morning, which is not like me. That is another thing. I am getting back on track with my life in general. Like, I'm back in the gym. I've gymmed 6 days this week. So, yeah. I am slowly getting back to being my normal self, and it feels like so long since I've been my normal self, but I am trying, and that's the main thing. So hopefully I'll be back to filming. I can't promise how frequent it's going to be. Like, maybe I'll drop down to once a week at some point, especially when I start my new job. Maybe I won't. We'll see how it goes. I will try to upload at the very least every Wednesday, but hopefully every Saturday as well. So yeah, there we go. that's my review on the HNB products and a little update on where I've been. Hopefully you guys understand, like, I can't help being ill. I know it's not the best excuse, and also hopefully you can understand that life's just been a bit all over the place recently. Yeah, but for good reasons, for very good reasons. But there we go. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. It's completely free and the button is just down below. Drop me a comment, let me know how your day is going, let me know what you think of these products. Will you be picking them up? Have you tried the brand before? Let me know your thoughts. But other than that, I will let you go. I hope you have a great day and an amazing week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!